Alright, well, thanks to everybody for coming, I guess. Hello. Anybody that doesn't know who I am, my name is William, and I've been playing drums for 16 years, possibly. Yeah, so, guess I want to start off with just doing a little improv solo thingamabob. So if I do mess up, I do apologize. You know, I'm only human, not like other people. So hopefully, actually, you know what to thank. Ned, right? Ray. See, I told you it was Ray. I told you it was Ray.
I'm incognito.
Yeah, he's yeah. I want to thank Ray for you know, inviting me here, and I do want to actually dedicate this to two people in my life right now. Unfortunately, one passed away about 10 years ago. I'd like to dedicate it to my mom. She saw when I was growing up how interested I was in music, as being a drummer. She would always get the calls from other people that wanted me to play with them, and she supported me. She's probably the only person that actually supported me in playing music. So I'd like to dedicate that to her, and also I'd like to dedicate it to my son, which he's not here right now. Yeah. Thank you. Hopefully you guys have fun.
I like how these sound.
Whoa. I'm out of breath. Oh, like I said before, I've been playing for about 16 years. Sort of grew up, I guess, with a family of musicians. My brother actually was a major influence on me. He used to play guitar, and he was into like a lot of the glam bands from the 80s, you know, like Poison and all those stuff. So he would always be rehearsing at his home, learning music. And at the age of 5, kind of, I guess, found out somehow that I actually knew how to sing, or had a good pitch in singing. So instead of me letting me out, you know, play and stuff, he would kind of force me to kind of like, oh, I got these lyrics, so you want to write? I have these lyrics that I wrote, and I want you to sing them. And he would force me to do it. But you know, like most kids, who has an older brother here? Anybody has an older brother? So you know, when you're a little kid, you kind of emulate your brother a lot. So I kind of wanted to do that, and he bought me a guitar, actually, when I was about 13 years old, right around the time where I started picking up the drums. I sneak up to his rehearsal room in the house, and one day, a good friend of mine that I still talk to right now, he walked into me when I was messing around on the drums. You know, just a little kid. I was very, you know, mind you, just picture me like this. This was me when I was 13. It was really skinny. So like, I thought he would, like, you know, kind of brush me off. But he actually taught me just a simple basic rhythm. He just taught me just like a 2/4 rhythm, kind of rock. But at that time I was playing open-handed, actually. So, and from then on, I actually mastered it. It took me about maybe 2 rehearsals on my own to kind of get it, and then next thing you know, that $200 acoustic guitar that my brother bought ended up just collecting dust, and I think he's still charging me to this day those $200. But around that same time also, I got into school too, you know, marching band. I do, you know, if anybody has a chance to, like, you know, study music, if you're really passionate about it, I suggest you guys do, because it's always good to know theory. It helps out a lot in the long run. I mean, I know there's other people that are really good at just picking up stuff, but it's always good to know how to, you know, read, how to write. I mean, because if you take if you take it serious, it will help you a lot. Enough of me talking then. So this next song, well, this first song actually, we never played another one. I'd like everybody to meet my friend Art. He plays in a band with me. And this first song we're going to play was the first song that we actually wrote as a band. Normally the way I play is I like to improvise a lot, and I get ridiculed sometimes by my band members because I do it during shows. But yeah, so this first song, we kind of wrote it just between him and I, through Guitar Pro. Wrote some of the parts for on Guitar Pro, and on the internet. You know, God bless technology nowadays. The intro for the because it starts off with a drum intro. I kind of stole it from somebody. Yeah, but I mean, I embellished it myself because I was in another band and I wrote this drum intro for this one part, but the band members didn't like what I was writing, so, you know, never used it. So once I started seeing Chris over there, right there, with his band Servo, he has an intro that had very similar style to what I was playing, that intro. So kind of copied it off of him. So sorry.
Made it sound better.
Yeah, it's basic. It's basic for me. It's pretty much all 16 notes, but I kind of mix it around between the 2 rights here, and Yeah. Mix it with those 2 reds. Sorry, I'm a little nervous about that. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Yeah, still try. See, I told you guys not to make me nervous. So yeah, so if you guys, hopefully you guys can catch that intro. This song is called Probulate.
What I think.
So, how many of you are drummers? Raise your hands. I guess it's gonna take you a while to kind of see the philosophy of it, but my role as a drummer with my band or with anybody that I play with is just pretty much to keep the keep the rhythm flowing, you know. There's a lot of drummers out there in the metal scene or anywhere else that, I guess they just, you know, they do it to kind of like either show off or, you know, feel, you know, above themselves like anybody else. I guess, you know, everybody else. But my role as a drummer is just, like I said, is to inspire, really. A lot of the drummers that I grew up listening to, like Dave Lombardo, Paul Bostaph. I wrote a list, actually. It's a long list. There you go. I kind of split it up between two sections. One is pretty much my early influences that I started as a kid, which would be, like I said, Dave Lombardo, Paul Bostaph, Dave Holland from Judas Priest, Scott Travis from Judas Priest. Anybody know who Scott Travis is? Anybody Judas Priest fans out there? No? Yes. Okay, good. Probably get ridiculed for this. Trey Cole from Green Day actually was one of my main influences in the beginning. When I started picking up the drums and I first heard the album Dookie, man, that cat is like really good with his fills, tasty stuff. So like I kind of got into him at an early age. Also Dave Grohl, which is also another influence of mine, but not only because, you know, he's an awesome solid drummer, very basic, down to earth, you know, meat and potatoes kind of drummer. He also, as all you know, now is a front man and a singer for Foo Fighters, which also is another favorite band of mine. Also Igor Cavalera from Sepultura, love his stuff too. Mickey D from King Diamond. Let's see, Mike Portnoy actually, he's a major influence on me. Yes, he is for me. Yeah, me as a 14-year-old kid, and first time I heard Dream Theater was phenomenal. And even though now he's kind of past, he's kind of one of those drummers that only has certain tricks on him. I mean, even though they're still pretty cool tricks, he's very redundant. Like he plays the same thing over and over and over again. But I really hold a good esteem towards him because he kind of opened my mind towards different type of music, which I'm actually into now, more like fusion type of stuff. A lot of bands, like a lot of guys like Virgil Donati, Steve Gadd, another good influence of mine. Let's see who else. Terry Bozzio, another good one. Terry Bozzio, Vinnie Colaiuta. Mike Portnoy pretty much opened the doors for me as a musician, as a drummer, to start looking at other stuff besides the simple kind of metal drummers that I was into at the time, and which is also good to kind of know that always had to keep an open mind when it comes to music. I mean, because if you really take this thing seriously, listen to other types of music. You can find it. Even a lot of people that listen, more of the gospel stuff. Listen to other type of stuff too. There's some really good, heavy metal drummers out there that are a lot better. That have that good, church chops to it. Same thing too with metal drummers. Listen to other different types of stuff, because what I did was mix all that stuff that I was into at that time into what I'm playing now. So it beneficial for everybody. Yeah.
Let's see.
And also, of course, the important role as a drummer, keep a steady rhythm, always. I had to learn this the hard way, though, because I also played in another band. It's more like basic Spanish rock type of feel to it, and it kind of kicked me in the butt to kind of like focus more on just drumming, because since I've always been playing, drums, metal drums my whole life, I'm always into like trying to play fast and try to do some flashy stuff. But the guitars kind of kicked me in the butt to kind of like keep it simple, and yeah, it worked good for me. I don't know. Yeah. So this next song, next song has no title. Song 2. This next song has no title, like I said, because we're a fairly new band. So call it whatever you guys want to call it. In the beginning of the song, I kind of do this kind of improv type of thing, or just solo. So yeah. So whatever you guys want to call it, that's the name of the song. So enjoy. Anybody seen the movie Drumline?
Yeah.
Anybody? Anybody like that movie? I don't. Because like I said earlier, I started with the Drumline at 13, 14 years old. And a lot of the stuff that's in the movie kind of made me really angry because it's really not like that. A lot of my technique mainly revolves around being in marching band. I started out playing the bass drum my freshman year. Then after that, I ended up going to tenors for another year and a half. I ended up sticking to snare the rest of the year, to a point where like I actually I actually entered the All City Marching Band my last 2 semesters of high school. Which, if any of you don't know, it's pretty much all the high school marching bands put together for one. We get together 2 months before the New Year's, and we do the Rose Parade every year. We have to march twice. The last year ended up being the drum captain for my last year. Yeah, like I was saying, marching band really helped me a lot with the techniques, because when you're rehearsing with a group, especially like a drum line, you're pretty much forced to listen a lot with the person next to you, because if you don't listen to the person next to you, you can tell the difference between how clean it sounds. So we would rehearse constantly, how to get tight to a point where like it sounds like one individual. So that philosophy I still kept with me even on the drum set, because well, it's a little bit more fluid, a little bit more solid, especially with the fills. A lot of the fills that I do, if you do notice, I don't mess up. Well, I mean, I do mess up, but it's not as weak as other fills, because like I said, constantly rehearsing all the time, getting the sound to sound like just one line. Say for example, a normal person playing a roll would sound like something like this. Pulsating the right hand, having the left hand very weak, and so they would force us as a line to just play open stroke rolls, and so we all matched the sound. So that's how I got that sound, especially when I do with fills. I tend to do a lot of my fills very strong towards the end. Yeah, like that. So yeah, it really helped me out a lot with that, and also with reading and writing music. It's always good to learn how to write and read music.
Let's see.
Anybody have any questions? Anybody? No? Yes?
What
No?
is it that you do with your hands primarily?
What do you mean?
Grip-wise, like what do you switch off of, like German, French?
No. I tried learning those hand techniques. Maybe because there's different ones. There's the German. There's the French one. Which is the French one?
French is the one typically like where your thumb placement would end up being like on top, like
that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Instead of like German, which is like usually your wrist is turned down.
I switch actually. I actually switch because with marching band, we would a bad technique is to kind of have your hand at the French position, which is like this, with your thumb pointing up to the sky. It's bad technique, snare wise and drumline wise. So I guess we would say German. We would use the German position a lot. Have the palm, the top of your hand pointing upwards. But it's different on the drum set though, because I guess because how things are positioned, you get, especially with a lot of the faster stuff, I switch more to the French because you can get a lot more. You can control the speed a lot faster with just your thumb pointing up to the sky as opposed to your to the palm being up as well. But I switch, like I said, I switch. With slower songs, I do use the German technique, and then once faster stuff, I switch it to the other way. Any other questions, anybody? No? Yes?
What's your approach on blast beats as far as either forearm wrist thing or control with the fingers?
It's pretty much the same. It's more, I use more of the wrist than anything. I'm not fairly like that technical when it comes to blast beats and stuff like that. I really don't care about it. I mean, I do play it, and I like how it sounds, but I really don't focus on it a lot. It's more, I guess. You just kind of stumped me there.
What do you find more comfortable, I guess? I mean,
comfortable like how?
Where you feel relaxed, where you don't get tired, you don't feel tense.
Lowering, I don't feel more tense. I mean, I do use a lot of power when I'm playing, but when it comes to like the faster stuff like that, I always tend to lower more of my sticking to that so I can get to that comfortable level. Not enough for like I'm tapping the drums, right, but just enough so you can actually hear the notes. It's the same thing. Same thing that I learned from marching band is the faster you go. Like it doesn't matter the faster you go. You don't necessarily have to have your sticking, super high, because first of all you can burn yourself out. So just the faster you go, the lower the sticking goes. So I get to a point where I'm doing the blast beat to a point where I lower the sticking that's comfortable enough for me so I won't cramp up. Another thing that helps me out a lot with the endurance of the blast beat is just a lot of roll, a lot of like roll combinations. We have this thing in marching band when we start out. I guess our warm-ups. One of them would be we call it a checkerboard pattern, which is just a couple of I guess like 4 measures of 16 notes, and another 4 measures of the rolls. Yeah. Sorry, it's it's. I do that a lot. If you guys saw me warming up, I would do that a lot. And also this thing we called roll endurance, which is just pretty much you're doing a roll. If you do I guess like a 2 or 3 measures of 16 notes, and then you go into I guess a roll of 2 count. So it's like, and then you repeat the rhythm all over again. But next time around you go into 4. And then after that, you go into 6 to 8 to 10, and so on. And that it helped a lot with kind of keeping my forearm locked in and using more of the wrist. So that same technique that I use with the roll, I use with a lot of the blast beat. That's the only thing I can really tell you about blast beats. And I adapt more towards that. That's how I see it. Let's see. Anything else? Anybody have another question? Anybody? Yes.
Did you ever write? Have you ever tried writing to music like this?
Yeah, actually, I was actually the original drummer for Servo in the beginning, and what we would do is he would send me. I don't know if you guys heard of the program. I mentioned it before, called the Guitar Pro. I don't know if you guys heard of it, but what we used to do was he would send me his tabs for whatever song, and I would write the music to it. So I would sit down, one by one. Okay, this is the bass drum, blah, 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 and then just follow along with the riffing. Because if you guys notice, anybody that's into death metal, like the riffing is really complicated, and sometimes it's very understandable at times. So you have to kind of like shape whatever drum beat that you have based on the riffing. So that's what I would do with that. I would listen to his riff, and then I'm like, okay, maybe just kind of like shape the drums or whatever riff. Say, you know, if he's doing a lot of you know, would either, you know, go basic, you know, blast beat, or, you don't know, maybe just make it more groovy, more metal version, and just go. So I'll just mess around with it, and it takes it's a long process to do it, especially you click one note at a time. It takes like maybe like 2 or 3 hours to come up with like eight bars of the music. So I when I had a computer, that's what we used to do a lot. Just swap out, you know, music, tabs, MP3s, whatever. Anything else? Anybody? Another question? Yeah? How about you with the Sam Crow hat? How you doing? Good. That's Adolf, by the way. Alright. I'll play another song. This song is probably... Huh? Yeah, this song's probably my favorite song from our band. Me and Art's favorite song. It's pretty simple to play. It's like a minute and like 30 minutes long.
30 seconds.
A minute, yeah, there you go. It's pretty short. Our other guitarist hates it because it's too complicated. So a lot of the technique that I told you about, kind of staying solid with the, you know, the rolls, and, you know, not breaking in between the fills and stuff like that. I get that along with this song, because this one's very, very marching band-ish type of feel to it. A lot of the, yeah, it has a lot of like marching concert band type of rhythms. So hopefully you guys like it. Song number 3.
Hey, Bobby.
Oh.
How do you guys like that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was too short.
Yeah. You know, we're still, our other guitarist is still debating whether we should add more music to it.
Nope.
But I think
Thank you.
I think it just sounds good as it is.
The last song is
The new one, right?
Oh, we got Forever and the other one.
I'm not doing forever.
Why not?
We need the bass for that. So I guess this is probably the last song that we have.
Where's your bass player?
The bass player sitting over there. Sam Crow hat. This last song has a lot of time signatures, especially at the beginning. I guess it goes into a measure 4, then a measure 3. Well, it's a measure of 7. But what I do is I do this thing called subdividing, where they're say for example you have a measure of 7/4. Measure 7/4 would sound something like this. So that's a measure of 7/4. So what I do, I subdivide it. I pretty much break it down into 2 measures. One being a measure of 4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I do the second measure of as a 3. So it's 1, 2. So put 2 and 2 together. 3 plus 4 equals 7. So that's the all-time signature parts. Where like if there's a measure of 11/4 or 12/4 or 8/4 or 9/4, I break it down so it can be a lot easier for me to play. And not only that, like when you subdivide it that way, it sounds a little bit more technical. So the first song starts off with like a 7/4 rhythm, and I'll just go into flourishes here and there. So yeah, this is the last song, and we only rehearsed this maybe a couple of practices, so it's still kind of shady, a little rough, and it's I know for sure we're not done with this one yet, but this is how much we have. So if I mess up, I'm sorry, and please forgive me.
Song cool.
Not done, but yeah. Any more questions? Anybody? The young cats? Anything? Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah, anything? Right?
I was just wanting to know more about that writing. You would suggest like writing something that you know you can't play just so you can get up and playing it. Would you suggest doing something like that?
Yeah, I would definitely suggest something like that. Like everything. I mean, if you do come up with a part that's really extremely hard to come up with, or you're having difficult with it, I would suggest working with a metronome. Start out super slow to a point where it sounds super sluggish, and and just work on it. And then once you get to that comfort zone where you can actually play it at that slow level, just kick it up a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, until you get it to the speed that you want to. Can you do that? Anything else, anybody? No? I mean, I really have nothing else to say. Yeah, thank you. And thank you for letting me bang on the drums in front of you guys. And pardon my shyness, but thank you. Thank you for coming out.